Alright, we're back in the shop today. Just doing some more repairs before the next season. You saw my other video, and I lost a bolt. If you saw my other video, I've used these EMT conduit hangers to mount my light bar. I have a plan for mounting more stuff on the bracket for the light bar. This is it. This is a bracket without the light bar. I picked up a set of these couplers, and they came in 4, so I had 2 extras. So today I'm just putting these proper couplers, and basically they're just cap screw, really thick steel roll bar clamps, and I'm basically welding this original bracket to those clamps with it all in position. A little bit difficult to get set up, a lot of measurements. These clamps are actually at weird angles, they're not direct. So I'm just going to tack these up and pull it back off and then finish weld it. This shouldn't take too long. Basically it's just position, weld, finish weld, put all the connections back on. One thing I wanted to mention, back in the video when I did my light bar, I'm just going to grab it real quick. This is why I highly recommend you put some kind of connector, and basically these are Anderson power pole connectors. They make these in really high amperages. You can put one of these on, and at any time, I know a lot of guys on the trail, their light bar or whatever comes loose or gets knocked off or anything like that. This is so you can remove it really quickly without having to stop the ride. And what I do on these traditionally are not a waterproof connector, but the dielectric grease that I mentioned before, if you put that down in the connectors before you slide it on, maybe try to get a little bit pressed in the back side of this coupler, these things will do just fine in the water, especially up high where the light bar's at. But I've successfully used these down low as well. The only difference being is I'll usually actually fill the back side with epoxy, and this front side I'll put dielectric grease on. As long as you don't hit these with a pressure washer and push the grease out, these will withstand being submerged. That's pretty much got it tacked together. I'm going to put a really quick tack on the back side and pull these couplers off and do the finish welding. One thing I'll mention, if you're going to weld on the RZR, always make sure that you've got something to protect the inside from the sparks, slag. Pull all these bolts out, and I'll go ahead and finish weld and then paint this before I put it back on. And again, I'll be using the VHT roll bar paint. That seems to be a really good match. That's what I originally used on this. These are the connectors. I think I got these on eBay. Really cheap. I think it's like maybe 40 bucks for 4. Really thick. Yeah, I can machine these, but I cannot machine these in-house for what they're charging on eBay. So I just picked some up off of eBay. I don't know if this will come through the camera or not. I may not be able to get enough zoom, but you can kind of see how these are canted. And that's what I'm talking about welding these together, making sure you got your positioning right. These are really not something you want to weld up on a bench. You're going to want to get these lined up on your machine. For me, I'm tacking them and then going to go back and finish weld them. When you're tack welding, if you haven't done a lot of welding, just make sure that you tack both sides. The heat from the welding can actually reposition the part, and you want to minimize that by kind of getting a tack on each axis if you possibly can. Okay, I'm just going to do as best I can on this to give you an idea. It really isn't like, you know, a welding video, but basically I'm going to get this top side, and then I'm going to flip the part over and get the bottom side, and just basically clean this up and get it painted. Okay, definitely not my best welding work. The big issue is I've got the door down here and I'm welding right next to the door, and the wind from the outside keeps blowing my welding gas away, but I think I got it. I don't think it's going to come off. I'm going to get this cleaned up, get it painted, and get it back on the machine. Okay, I'm not sure if the audio is going to come through, but it's still fairly cold in the shop, and this may not be the best method, but this is what I'm using to get this paint dried up and make sure it's good and hard before I put it back on the razor. I'm not really sure that this is what they meant by air dry, but it should be close enough. Okay, paint's pretty dry. I don't usually try to put stuff together and it's still wet, but kind of a rush. It's pretty chilly down here, but this should work. I'm just now putting the bolts back in the couplers, and then I'll slide this up into position. I'll just kind of have to work it up. I don't have two people, so I'm really just going to kind of work it up as I go, very slowly. Now with the other side tight, this is probably going to take some persuasion. I need to move it up about an eighth of an inch. Get a line. It's moving a little bit. There we go. And anytime you're tightening these couplings, do them even. Just look at your gaps on each side. If you end up bottoming out one of these couplers on one side, it'll eventually come loose on you. So you want to make sure that they're even. Just like any other clamp, especially when this gets some motion. There's quite a bit of leverage here. I really didn't have a lot of trouble with EMT. You could tell that the EMT had kind of found its resting place. These aren't going to move at all, but I definitely don't want these screws backing out and falling into my lap while I'm riding. Okay, that should get that. Let's get the light bar back on and see what we've got. If I can remember which I loosened one side of it. I think it was that side over there. And of course, would not have the screw on the right side of the razor. Hopefully that'll stay there till I can get over there. I'm just going to get this snugged up. Most of these light bars have kind of a tooth locking mechanism. You want to make sure that you get it lined up well before you actually tighten it. And I need another tool. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I figured it would be lined up because I pretty much put it exactly where it was at before. The only difference is the width of this clamp is just like maybe 1/8 of an inch smaller than the EMT conduit, and it basically moved the light at an angle down this way, which is fine. My roof will still come off. And the other side typically on your light bar is a critical side. Once you tighten down the far side, you kind of want to rock the light bar back and forth just to make sure you're getting good tooth engagement and making sure you're not putting the light in a bind. A lot of times if your screw comes out of the light bar, that's why, because you've basically pinched those serrations. And what happens is over time, especially when it's jiggling around, it'll actually jump down in the serration, then your screws loosen, it backs out. Okay, everything's tight. I don't know if you can see that. That is not going anywhere. I'm real happy with that. It's pretty easy to get on and off if I ever did have to take it off. More than likely, if I roll it, these bolts right here are going to shear off. The mount will be fine. The light bar may or may not be, and the bolt will shear off here. Anyway, I'll give you some quick shots and get this hooked up and just make sure the light bar works again. And I'll disconnect the camera and do that. Okay, here's kind of a front view. This is the mount here. I can put all of my weight on that light bar, and it's not moving anywhere. That's really stout mount. This is our cable. We'll run it up, back up through here, and actually get it reconnected to its point. Okay, I've got some line on it up here. This is the connector. I'm getting ready. I'll tie strap this here in just a second. Just to kind of show you what it looks like. I'm gonna try to get the side of it shown. Not going to flip all the way around there, but that's how the connector works. So I'll basically get this tie strapped here in a second after I test the light bar. Okay, light bar is good to go. Okay, we got everything strapped down. Basically, I put a strap on this side, and the coil again. You know, make sure you don't tighten up your straps too much. I did add one that wasn't there before over here, just to hold it, but. Again, you know, making it disconnectable makes it a lot easier to do maintenance, move things around. Again, if you knock your light bar off or something happens, they can always get caught on a tree. It's really handy to make sure that your light bar disconnects up at the light. Okay, that's pretty much round 2 is over with the light bar mount. I'm really happy. Everything's dead on straight, and it's not going to go anywhere. And the big thing is I had those 2 mounts anyway. Again, those come in 4. I'll try to put a link if I can find them again. I know that they have them on Amazon, they have them on eBay. I think they're a little cheaper on eBay. And again, you can just weld straight to them. I plan on using the other 2. I haven't got tube yet, but that'll actually be a tube that goes across my rear bars. Had a lot of subscribers recently subscribe. I really appreciate that. It kind of helps keep the channel going, helps keep me interested in doing videos. And thanks for everybody for doing the comments. It's been real useful to see what other people are doing. If you have any questions about anything on my razor, or you want to explore some ideas, just feel free to drop me a comment. I think on Monday, today's Friday, I think on Monday I'm supposed to be getting some springs from Schmitty Racing. I'll do a review on those. And coming up, I probably will be doing at a minimum a gold LE or a trail and rock shifter in this razor. And I'm going to look at when I get the kit, and if it's possible, I think it will be. I'm going to modify the shift gate, and that'll be a machining video. I'm going to run that in the vertical machining center, and knock out a different style gate, maybe 2 or 3 just for testing. But it'll kind of be an R&D project, much like the Razor Mux. If you haven't seen that, check out that video. That pretty much is solid state microcontroller outputs. 18 amps is generally what I run. You can bond them together to get more amperage. But where I use that in the Razor is basically to control most of my electrical accessories. It just makes it a little bit easier, and you can do some customization. Again, that's what's coming up. Some other razor videos to check out. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. All the other folks that are doing a lot of the razor channels, I think I'm subscribed to all of them. If you've got one that I haven't commented on or been there, be sure to leave that in the comments. I really like, especially the trail videos. It's real helpful for, kind of trip planning and that kind of thing. If folks have already been there before, to be able to see where you're going and how to get there and what to expect. Anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.